Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. So today we're going to be taking a look at the latest bit of consumer BS presented on my channel. Honestly, you know what? Let's just get into it. You're looking at it right now. This is a steel core gun belt. Now, the thing I like about gun belts is that they can easily be pressed into service as a heavy-duty regular work belt, a heavy-duty EDC belt, or as a gun belt, obviously, for your concealed carry firearm. Whether you open carry, which quite frankly is extremely stupid unless you're on your own property, such as, for example, if you own a few acres and you're doing some work on your property, maybe you just own 1 acre and maybe you've had issues with trespassers. Okay, open carry is fine on your own property. Out in public, yeah, it's stupid, because unless you live in a place where literally everyone open carries everywhere they go, you are going to have people who are going to grab their phone the instant they see you climbing out of your car, not wearing a police officer uniform, calling 911. So yeah, open carry, unless you're on your own property, pretty stupid. But that's not what this video is about. Still, felt good getting that off my chest. So this is a steel core gun belt. And what that essentially means is they take 2 long pieces of relatively thick leather, and in between, with the exception of the area where the notches or holes are cut into the belt, with the exception of that area, they take a very thin piece of mostly flexible steel and they sandwich it in between the 2 layers of leather. And of course, that thin piece of steel is going to be narrower than the 2 pieces of leather. Now, in theory, this is done so that your thick leather gun belt won't sag over time. I'm not quite sure how effective the concept is in real life because, well, what you're looking at here is the very first such gun belt I've ever purchased. And yes, I will be wearing it. I will be testing it out. But I can guarantee you one thing. I will have a traditional leather belt with a traditional solid buckle in my work bag just in case I experience something with this belt that I've experienced with others. Now, why is that? Quite frankly, the buckle. Let's take a closer look. Now, I do apologize for the reflections. I can't help that. As you can see, this is a shiny stainless steel buckle. Now, it appears to be thick. It appears to be heavy duty. It's not. I do have experience with these types of buckles. If you're an individual who is overweight, or perhaps extremely muscular, and you have a little bit of problems putting a belt on that's thicker and more rigid than a traditional custom leather belt, well, a lot of companies use this style of buckle. As you can see, this is solid, this portion is solid, so's this portion, and over here on the front you have this long cylindrical collar that rotates very easily. so that when you put on a thick leather belt, whether or not it has a steel core, it slides through the buckle much easier than if this collar wasn't here. At least that's the theory. In my experience, these types of collars are overrated. And there's an issue. A lot of you are probably assuming that there is a long piece of thick metal going all the way down, and this collar is fitted around that piece of long metal in the manufacturing process. Well, no. As I found out the hard way, these collars are not attached to a completely solid buckle. Here's what they do with these collars. They make the buckle, and then they actually cut off nearly this entire portion. What you have underneath this collar that is unseen, you have a small piece of metal that goes down about here, and then you have another small piece of metal that goes up about here. Now, in between, it's empty. It's hollow. There's no metal in between. Yep, all you have is a slight bit of metal up to about here, and a slight bit of metal up to about here, and the rest is empty. All you have is this collar that spins and rotates easily. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, that's interesting, but why is that a problem? Well, that's a problem because if you're a man and you've got some strength in your arms and hands and you're putting on your belt, you can actually pop off this collar, literally pop it off, which is something that has happened to me. You can pop off this collar. And then, because most of this is empty, missing metal completely, if you pop off the collar, you're not going to be able to get it back on. And that means you're not going to be able to use this buckle to put on your freaking belt. And this is something that companies do, not just with steel core leather gun belts like this one. Oh no. They also do it with heavy-duty work belts. They do it with normal, average men's belts. Yeah, that's their solution. Cut off a functional piece of metal, replace it with a freaking collar that rotates quite easily. Oh, it makes the belt a little bit easier to put on if we use a bit thicker leather material. Yeah, they don't tell you what happens when this stupid thing pops off. Now, I got this leather gun belt mostly to carry some of my heavier EDC items so I could carry them, use them at my jobs, test them out for the channel. And yeah, so when I bought this, I didn't realize it was going to come with this stupid collar. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it. These types of buckles are an absolute waste of money. Stay away from them. Thankfully, in my situation, when this stupid collar popped off and there was no way to get it back on, I did have another belt nearby and I was able to swap it out. But imagine if you're at work and it happens and you don't have an extra belt. Yeah, now you're pretty much screwed because your pants aren't going to stay up. So This is a bit of BS that you definitely want to avoid. Stay away from belts, gun belts, heavy-duty work belts, or even a typical inexpensive leather belt from JCPenney or Walmart or Target or any number of places that sell inexpensive leather belts. Stay away from this buckle design. Just no. Stay away from any sort of men's buckle design that has this rotating collar. Yes, I will admit it does make putting your belt on and cinching it up a little bit easier if you wear a thick leather belt, a little bit easier, but not by a huge amount. No, this, in my humble opinion, is just idiotic. Now, had they made this with full metal on the inside and then just wrapped it around the metal, it would be fine. But this type of buckle design, you're missing metal on the inside of this collar. And the small amount of metal here and here, it's not enough. These collars can pop off rather easily, and they don't pop back on. Believe me, I tried with that one belt. So again, guys, please do yourself a favor. Stay away from this idiotic, in my humble opinion, and in my humble experience, belt buckle design. All right, guys, that's it for today. I will have another video up soon. Please continue to stay safe. And yes, I did hear the CDC's recommendation about, oh, hey, if you've had all your shots, you don't need to wear masks. Yeah, apparently the CDC is run by freaking morons, but that's just my humble opinion. Please continue to stay safe, guys, no matter what some politician tells you. No, it's not safe out there, and we sure as hell don't need a new wave of this freaking pandemic. So please, keep wearing your masks, keep staying safe, and yes, get vaccinated. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.